officially 6:30.
No, it's not.
Need to turn that. Give it the show time. I don't know. Yeah,
It's 6:30.
we're on it.
Okay. It's 6:30.
Okay, call this meeting to order for September 15th, 2025 at 6:30 PM. That's everyone, please stand for the pledge of allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So, we need to seat. You want to seat for anybody, doesn't matter. Please seat Mr. Grillo for
John Turbin.
or John Turbin. Yeah. Okay, audience comments. Anyone in the audience who would like to comment on anything before we get started? Please.
I'm Patty Massey, running for selectman, not for selectman. And I decided I should be coming, as I have been to other meetings. I have never been to a planning and zoning meeting. So I thought I should come just to, in case I win, I need to know what's going on.
Sure.
So, but I don't know your names.
I'm Jason McCready, so I am the vice chairman, serving as chairman for probably the rest of this year, since Ross Perugia, who put in 15 plus years of service, was our chairman, our elected chairman. And he resigned, like I said, after 15 plus years of service. So I'll be filling in as the chairman until November, and then we have elections.
Okay.
I'm John Jerome.
I know, I walked in with Peter, so it's been around.
Yeah, so it's us, and we have two members out this evening.
And Jim Larkin, he's our consulting planner as well, not on the commission, but.
Yes.
Take a little bit of chat.
Hopefully give a presentation shortly. I don't work here. We're just here for the fun. Yeah. Okay. All right, good. Yeah, we have no other audience, so unless Mr. Blanchett, you would like to have any comments prior to the meeting starting?
No, sir. Take it away.
Okay. Meeting minutes. Has anyone had a chance to read the minutes from the previous meeting? Do you have any comments, changes, corrections, adjustments? Judy, either find out. Would anybody like to make a motion to approve the minutes?
Make the motion to approve the minutes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Correspondence, do we have any correspondence?
There was no correspondence.
Okay, before we get started with unfinished business, I think we should address a late application that we've had. So we've had a late application. This was, by I say late, I mean it was received after the agenda was published. So it's not on the agenda. And it's an application for Mr. Charles Corson.
Forward.
I haven't even really looked at it yet. It looks like excavation application, is that?
That's what I'm here for, yes, sir.
Okay. So is it a renewal or is it a new application?
It's a new application.
New application, okay. So we got, it's like, I've just seen it tonight, I haven't seen it before this. So if we want to accept this at tonight's meeting and therefore have it on the docket, we would need a motion to be made to accept this, and we would need a unanimous vote.
We would also need to know exactly what it is, right? I mean, no idea what it is.
Yeah, I mean, do we want to take a moment and take a look at it? Let's take a.
Is it people approving it tonight?
In your packet, you have the second page, which is the application
I'm not expecting any decisions or votes this evening. Is that clear?
So, right, for the record, Jim Larkin, consulting planner. So, this came in last week, and Ashley wasn't sure what the, fee amount was for the application. So she had contacted, I think the zoning enforcement officer, who had then forwarded the information to myself, looking for clarification on what the fee should be based on the ordinance or the updated ordinance. And then I had reviewed under your bylaws, because the agenda had already been posted under your bylaws, anything that comes in post-agenda filing, you can then add to the agenda at the meeting. It just requires a unanimous vote of the commission. So either whether you choose to add it to your agenda or not, the clock starts tonight as far as the actual date of receipt. And it does require a public hearing, so you have 65 days in which to open the public hearing from tonight, either way. But the applicant's engineer is here to give you probably just a brief explanation, at least of what the project is. He'll still have to give a full presentation at the public hearing as well, but
So I had talked to Jim earlier today about this, and my understanding is that we might as well accept this officially at tonight's meeting. Go ahead and put it up, add it to the agenda. The clock starts ticking regardless, so we might as well receive it now. If we receive it tonight, then we can set the public hearing for next month's meeting.
Either way, that's gonna be the course of action, right?
Right, exactly.
because all the plans will still need to go to the engineer for
Right.
review.
They'll still need to go to engineering.
In my understanding, and the engineer will explain more, I believe the site was also the subject of a previous application that was approved back in, prior to zoning, so back in 06, 07, I believe, is what the messier plan you had provided, indicates. So it was something that was previously approved prior to, the planning, the zoning regulations, probably through the ordinance and the selectment process. It just hasn't been, it was never reapproved, so now it has to come back as a new permit.
So, yeah, so my thought was, let's make a motion to accept the application this evening.
Before we hear him out.
That will come under new business, yeah, so when we get to new business, then this will be the new business item.
Okay,
So what we wanna do is add it to the agenda early now. And then when we get to new business, it will be on the docket officially.
okay.
So the, the motion would be to receive the application of Mr. Charles Corson, effective tonight, September 15th, 2025. Will somebody like to make a motion?
So I will make a motion to accept the application of applicant Charles Corson, 160 Sterling Road, Sterling, Connecticut. Today's date being
September 15th. Do we have a second? All those in favor? Aye. Unanimous vote. Officially added to the agenda. So this will be the one and only new business item. In a few minutes. Unfinished business. I don't believe we have any unfinished business. So. Moving on, new business. This Mr. Blanchett, please.
All right, perfect. Thank you guys so much for letting me come in this evening. I apologize for the last minute submission. My schedule kind of got ahead of me. For the record, my name is Daniel Blanchett. I'm a licensed civil engineer and land surveyor. I work with J&D Site Designs out of Thompson. I'm here tonight on behalf of the applicant Charles Corson to introduce everyone to an application for a quarry or an excavation permit. And again, I'm not expecting any action or votes this evening. I'm hoping that the commission will find it acceptable to schedule a public hearing for the following month. I'll have a more formal presentation prepared at that time, but just to give everyone a real quick high-level summary. So the site's located on 14A, right across the intersection from Church Street. So if you took a left out of here, you went down just 1,000 feet, 2,000 feet, the site would be on your left. Again, so the town hall's right up here somewhere. Church Street, I'm sorry, town hall's right down here.
Exactly, yeah.
And so the site here is lot 15, right across from Church Street. So it is about 27 acres. The site had been previously quarried, I think in the 70s or 80s, a long time ago, before I was born, in this area. There had been an area previously excavated, and then you see at the middle of the site, this is where we're proposing to do some more excavation. Again, Messier and Associates in 2006, 2007, had submitted a set of plans almost identical to this. I believe it was approved. I know it was reviewed by the town engineer. They had comments. No work was done. Those permits would have expired. So this isn't a renewal. This would be a new application. Mr. Corson has a potential buyer lined up for this property. The buyer wants to, have some level of confidence the permits are in place before he buys the property. Again, so here's Plainfield Pike, 14A, Church Street. This is the area we're gonna excavate. Sheet 3 is the grading plan, which I can get into more detail later. The area of excavation is about 4 acres. It's about a 20-foot cut at the deepest point. So again, not a huge project, not a huge commercial project. The material that's going to be removed is stone. Any kind of soil, there's really no soil or gravel of commercial value. So, again, a foot or two of topsoil, subsoil would be stripped, stockpiled, and then stone would be removed either with hammering, blasting, etc. We do have wetlands approval. We got that a month or two ago. The plans have been submitted to DOT. We do not have that yet. Hopefully for the public hearing next month, I'll have DOT approval. Some work is going to be required to improve the site distance here. Again, if you're leaving the site, you can see right. Looking to the right, you can see plenty. Looking to the left, there's a little bit of an obstruction here. So some work will need to be done within the state right of way to improve the site distance, make it safe for trucks to exit. Sheet 4 again has all kinds of notes about the excavation, erosion control, etc. I'd be happy to, I'll get into much more detail at the public hearing, but that's just kind of a real brief introduction. And I'm hoping the commission will schedule a public hearing for the following meeting. And I have a fee for Mr. Larkin. I have a check here. That's the one thing I was missing. He said $960. Can I give this to you or should I?
Yep, actually, you can give it to Judith.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I just have a couple questions just to kind of get things started.
Yes,
So
sir.
as past wetlands, are there any, I see some indicators here for wetlands, but that looks more like a channel that kind of runs through the old excavation. So
Yes,
there's
yeah.
no- So you're not really even close to any type of native wetland soils, right?
That's a good observation. So yeah, the area that was previously excavated, they made kind of a valley that was man-made. It's now considered wetland soils, exactly. There's also wetlands here that eventually drain into, I forget which brook.
There's a stream down there at the bottom, yeah. I don't know the name of it.
Muddy Swamp.
Cedar Swamp.
Cedar, thank you. Cedar Swamp, exactly. So most of the site drains to the east There's wetlands and a small intermittent water course here, and eventually that goes into Cedar Swamp Brook way down here. So, again, looking at the 100-foot upland review area, only a very, very small amount of work here, mostly erosion controls, is proposed in the upland review area.
So you've essentially selected this elevation. I mean, just,
Yeah.
am I looking at this correctly? You've essentially selected an elevation that is as close to this boundary line as you, I'm assuming you can go. And then you essentially just flat cut it in with just a minimum amount of pitch for, for future, so it doesn't become a pond.
Yes, sir, that's correct, exactly.
I
We're
was
gonna
trying to
take,
determine,
Yeah.
how did you determine that this is the area and not more area?
yeah, and again, I was trying to follow the previously approved plans as much as possible, so we're gonna basically take this elevation 460 and cut it all the way back.
Yeah.
And I do have, again, you'll see there'll be a steep slope here, and then a nice 1% slope down to the middle, so we don't make a pond, the site should drain well. And again, for the long term, any soil that we take off will be put back over the bare rock, it'll be revegetated, and so in the long term, again, I don't expect any significant impacts.
I mean, to me, it looks like a fairly moderate application. I feel like you could have gone further, but.
Question, what's the depth of the excavation
About 20 feet, yeah, so the bottom, if I look at the bottom, my elevation is 460,
Yeah.
and then I have a 480 contour. So of that right here, about a maximum 20-foot cut. Maybe 22 here.
What's the angle of that slope? Is that a 2-in-1 slope?
It
or
should be a 3-to-1 slope,
3-to-1?
3-to-1 slope, yeah.
And then you said it's solid rock, right? So it's.
Exactly, yeah. If I look at the soil data from NRCS, Natural Resource Conservation Service, there's about a foot or two of soil.
Because when
It's a bedrock.
we've addressed this in the zoning regulations previously where we made some adjustments because quarrying and stone removal kind of fell into the same category as
Mhm.
excavation, but you don't have the danger of a slope with solid rock that you do with soil material that can wash and
Right.
erode. So we typically see steeper slopes, which is okay. I mean, the only thing is safety is a concern. On other quarries, we've had a fence line put at the top.
Exactly. We don't want to make a vertical cliff
It's
that,
kind of in the middle of the woods, so a fence would kind of, I don't know that this is the right place for a fence for safety.
exactly. I
So
mean, if I look at the volume of stone to be removed, it makes sense to keep it a gentle slope. It's not gonna be a lot more material, and it would be dangerous if I made a cliff.
This will go to the town engineer. of course.
Yes,
So we'll see if he has any comments on something like that.
Yeah.
I think it's a very reasonable application on the surface, so yeah, what will happen is we will set the public hearing date, and then we will send this to engineering, so what I'm suggesting is a hearing for like 6 p.m. at the next month's meeting. So that way it's open to public comment.
Well, can I have a question?
Yeah.
So primarily, project is to extract the stone, is the value of the stone there?
yeah, it's all stone. There's no dirt.
Primarily, what this project is for.
Yes, sir, yeah, there's no dirt that's gonna be removed. There's no sand or gravel that would be valuable. It's topsoil, subsoil, and bedrock.
And then after that, the property is gonna probably do what with it?
I don't know. I don't know, I mean, there would still be a lot of good usable land here if someone wanted to build a couple houses or,
Figuring,
Yeah.
Also be towards the end of the project, you don't start a project and then don't have any, you stop and thinking about what to do after that, I'm just curious.
Mhm.
If I was doing houses, I think I would cut this back further, make an area, and then, but who knows, yeah. Not my application, yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. man.
But there's other people doing checks and balances.
There's another ancient quarry right across the street.
Pretty fine, yeah.
Yeah, this is all solid rock, there's another old quarry on that corner. on that parcel right across the street too. Which is probably the same thing to do that one, I guess.
A lot of rock and sterling.
Yeah, especially right in this area,
A
yeah.
lot of rock and sterling. That's the natural resource.
Probably, I mean, how big houses on the property is.
Right,
It's steep and it's rocky. Yeah.
Right, no basements.
The current one right there, all right, I was just wondering. This is a berm that has to be created.
Yes, sir.
Is that's indicating a temporary
Berm plus the bales.
construction berm, is that correct?
The berm will stay there.
Oh, there's a berm.
Yeah, berm.
Yeah, there's,
Okay.
Yes, again, typically, you know, with like a gravel bank.
Yeah.
There's a lot of concern with erosion and there's basins and ponds and swales. In this case, it's gonna be bare rock. There's not a lot of sediment that would be washed down, but I also don't have anywhere to excavate a hole. And so in lieu of that, we're making very robust erosion controls. And so if you see on sheet 4, I have a detail for a berm that's gonna have crushed stone, geotextile, and then another layer of silt fence. The silt fence would be temporary, but the stone berm would remain.
How aggressive, is the trucking going to be extracting? Do you have any plans for that, or is it?
I'm sorry, what's?
The stone being removed, how aggressive is it gonna be as far as trucking? How much trucking? Do you have a plan for that, or do we have sets for that? We have.
I can get you an answer next month. I don't have an exact number at the tip of my fingers
So
right
the
now.
question is typically, how many truckloads being removed over what time period?
Sure,
That's typically the
absolutely.
the concern.
Yeah.
So that would be that.
I can get you that next month.
That would be the-
That's very busy over there, that's, looks like the center of town, so.
Yeah, and it's on a steep hill, so those trucks coming out, if they're coming out and heading towards Plainfield, that's a slow takeoff uphill.
Mhm.
I think that's gonna have to be one of our, one of the things we did, that's good for,
Yeah,
sure, okay.
yeah. I'm sure that would be picked up by engineering, we have typical traffic and, traffic load counts and erosion control are typically, major concerns for engineering.
Well, this here swamp here, we don't have any problems with that. Draining into that hole afterwards, or like you say, you're gonna refill it back in afterwards, right?
Exactly, yeah, whatever soil we take off will be put right back.
What, yeah, but not 20 feet of soil.
No,
There's yeah,
Where
there's
will
a-
the material come from to refill this?
So right now, there's a foot or two of dirt that will be stripped and left right here.
Yeah,
Once all the rock and stone is removed, that soil will be put back. So we can, again, allow vegetation to establish.
20 feet of
No,
soil.
no, it won't fill it, it'll just.
1 to 2 feet
top
of
dress
soil.
it. It'll just top dress it,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, but we're gonna create another pool, is what I'm getting at, the water.
It's graded such that it will drain, but
Yeah,
it's a hole in the ground.
It's a big hole, but it shouldn't be filled with water.
But
It'll
it
have a
drains
consistent
the
flow
daylight.
out.
It drains to daylight, it'll be self-draining.
Yeah, it won't be a pond. It'll be a big hole, but not a pond.
Questions, John, thank you. So the application just is for blasting, splitting, no crushing, no screening, no washing. So they're blasting the rock, putting the rock, and processing it somewhere else.
the screen, no washer, no crusher.
Yeah, I believe there's houses too close. The processing is very noisy, so I want to say there's a 500-foot buffer for that, and we do have houses nearby. I don't think we're allowed to crush it or anything.
have a stop time on this project, or it's just as needed? They're gonna pick it and bring it to spots, or they're gonna process it all at once, or?
That's a good question. I can get you an answer for that. I'm not sure exactly, the person who wants to buy the property, I'm not sure his time schedule, but I can try and find that out. The permit's good for 5 years as a maximum, right?
Alright, so we're gonna move this along, right, to, the checks and balances?
Right, so this will go to engineering next, and then our, next piece of the process would be to schedule a public hearing.
Schedule a public hearing. So we should schedule a public hearing.
Yes, I think,
Do you have something to add to this?
What's that?
You have something to add to all of this?
Well, I haven't reviewed it yet, so we'll do a review, we'll forward it to the town engineer. I mean, the blasting aspect is probably also one of the bigger, I'm sure he'll have comments on, because that's gonna require separate permitting from the fire marshal. As well, and I think that also requires a little more information on whether or not it would impact any nearby residential, wells or anything along those lines, so, but I'm sure that the town engineering will also have comments on that. But I believe as far as, scheduling a public hearing, you technically have 65 days in which to open the public hearing, so you can schedule it for either the October or the November meeting, but,
Or we could schedule it at our next meeting also?
yes.
Or-
And I think that is, it's 35 days between now and the October one, so it's not a shorter, it's not 28, sometimes it's 28 days. It's 35, so you got an extra week there, so.
so if we don't do it at the next meeting, we probably have to do a special meeting date.
No, it would still fit into November, because you always have two that fit within the 65-day window, but,
So
it's just with the extra week, you would be fine with doing that.
that being said, if that's the case, then I'd say we table it, and, I don't think that's not gonna hold anything else up, but you suggest that we move it forward until it goes to engineering, then that's okay too, as long as, our obligations are met here. Either way, table it, so we can see it, well, you have to look at it too, right?
Right, well, I'll
Right, so-
review it, and so will the engineer, as far
Yes.
as the application goes, but we can do that and have that information for you, because that would also be coming at the public hearing as well. Because we wouldn't necessarily provide that to you outside of the public hearing.
Right. So
That would all be part of the public hearing.
to your point, if we schedule a public hearing for say 6 PM before next month's meeting, we would now have the feedback from engineering, from planning,
Right, so,
going into the public hearing. So if people have questions, you're right, we wouldn't have great answers, yeah.
so we should table it then. My suggestion,
Table or just, you're still gonna.
It would just, it would continue, it would just continue to the next meeting. And we wouldn't schedule a public hearing.
It's either that, or you can just schedule the public hearing for November, either way. Because if you're not gonna schedule it for October, then you have to schedule it for November, unless the applicant's gonna give you an extension, but.
Yeah, so we can do that, we can schedule a public.
But you also wanna take a look at your November, because you are the third. What is the November date? Because,
17.
okay, that's before the, I just wasn't sure if your date gets weird because of the holiday, but no, it doesn't, because it's earlier.
It would be a week before. so
Yeah.
we'd be clear.
Veterans Day is the 11th. Thanksgiving, right, is the week after. So it'll be the 17th.
So November 17th.
Jim, do letters have to be sent out prior to this public hearing?
Yeah, there's notice requirements that would be that the applicant would need to send out. For a butter notices, and then the town will send out their,
500 feet, I think.
their notices. Now, given that that you're choosing the November meeting, should the engineer have comments, prior to then, would the commission have an issue with him providing those comments to the engineer prior to the public hearing? So that they
We
can,
would have the October meeting in between, so I would hope that you would have those comments for the October meeting.
right,
If the public hearing is in November, I probably would not attend the October meeting. Again, I can work in the background
Right,
with
but
the
that's what I'm
engineer and
saying,
town
and-
staff, but
Yes.
if the commission can't take any action, I'm not gonna come next month. Because
Right.
information has to be within the public
within the
hearing.
public hearing. So what I'm saying is in the background, he could provide the comments to the engineer, so the engineer could address issues, but it wouldn't necessarily be public comments that would necessarily come to the commission, that would be publicly,
No, I think the engineering comments that would be prepared for the October meeting should definitely be shared.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then everybody comes prepared for the public hearing in November. And then after the public hearing, we move to the regular meeting and then the decision would be made. Decision would have to be made. That would be our final thing number.
Unless I grant an extension again, if the public had some major
Right.
concern
Well,
or
you got-
question, I was unable
the
to.
decision doesn't have to be made.
Right.
When you, once you close the public hearing, you then have, for a special permit, you have 35 days in which to render a decision.
Okay, okay.
But no new information can be entered
Right, no
into the
new
record.
information can be had, so that means that you could close the public hearing, and then you still have one more meeting in which to render a decision
Okay.
without extensions. So it's not, you don't have to render a
Okay.
decision that night, but
Okay. Thank you.
I feel like I'm going through this all over again. With my, like my subdivision complete.
Do we have any objections for November,
I don't have any objection.
for the public hearing? Do we need to make a motion for that? A motion for a public hearing? No. Yeah, let's do that.
best to make a motion, because then you need to set the time and place.
Somebody like to make a motion for a, public hearing? On November 17th at,
Because you had mentioned doing it at 6 prior to this,
yeah. we
to
can't
the
meet
6:30
regular
meeting,
time.
and then your regular meeting would start.
It would start at 6:30
Immediately
or
following.
immediately following.
Right,
If this takes 5 minutes, then we have to wait 25 minutes. If it takes an hour, well, then the regular meeting just starts later.
right.
I'll make a motion to, for a public hearing on November 17th, 6 p.m. Well, that's what you guys do that.
That's it for this room? In this room? Do we have a second?
Second.
Does it have to say what the public hearing is for in the motion?
For the application of Mr. Charles Corson, 160, no,
Zero kind of.
what's the address?
Yeah, it's the mailing address is 160, I think it has an address of 0.
Yeah, mailing address of 160 Sterling Road.
You could use the map block if you want. I think it's map 3830, block 27, lot 15.
Right there.
3830, block 27, lot 15. Okay, we have a motion, we have a second, all those in favor? Aye. Okay,
Thank you for your time, everyone.
thank you for coming in, I
I will
appreciate it.
be working in the background with the town staff. I'll see everyone in November.
Thank you very much. Hey, your report. We have 3 items on these applications. Further action on North Sterling Road. Looks like a continuation of last month, I don't see anything new. Questions, comments?
I've seen it, I don't have any questions or comments on that. I've been following permanent link, but I just see this, just went through, so.
The only new thing I think, it has nothing to do with, zoning enforcement really, is that I think they now have, for example, this application that you have in front of you for earth excavation, I think they've added, or they now have all these different types of applications available on Permit Link, or, so that you won't be getting the old.
Yeah.
So I think they will automatically be given numbers, so it won't be,
We can use an application number
Right,
versus. a
right,
property
it'll have an
address.
automatic application number kind of given to it,
I
as
like that
opposed
better.
to,
So the
address or,
hard copies, is that what you're saying, or?
no, it'll still have a hard copy. Cause they'll print out, basically, they'll print a hard copy out, but it's just a way that they can track it
To refer.
online, right? And it'll be given, it automatically gives it I don't know what it's gonna give it for, like
A
an
file number, an
excavation, right?
application number.
But it'll give like for subdivision, it's probably like SD 125 for the year 25, and then 225 or 325. And for earth excavation, special permit might be ESP 125, and then just work its way down or something. I'm not sure what code they gave them, but going forward, it'll be that. And that way it has right on it what the fee is. And they'll collect it. They'll be able to track collecting the fee and everything else, so.
And everything will be automatically submitted.
And they'll submit documents through the portal
Or, yeah.
on PDF, but you guys will still receive them, because what'll happen is up front, they'll print off hard copies for the meetings, obviously, so that you guys have, hard copies, but then that way, it's another way for them to have reduced the amount of paper everywhere else. And that way, both zoning enforcement, building officials, wetlands, because the town, to a degree, is going somewhat to more of an online and more of a, let's say, part-time staffing kind of thing, where people may be working from multiple locations, they're able to retrieve those documents more or less from anywhere. So anywhere they might be working in a different town, but if something came up, they can go in and say, okay, I need to see this document, and pull something up and see if somebody's got a permit for such and such or something like that. Because all the documents will follow in Permit Link with that particular address, because you'll be able to search by address for all of their permits.
And we'll have a file number that we can reference.
Well,
You know.
I don't know if it's the right time for this, but, so we'll still use the hard copy of these, which goes into the email issue. It's not using our private email. the town was to supply us with an email, all of our information would be there, the email addresses for us, as it's emailed to us instead of us. Papers and such, and we can take care of, we use a lot of more private emails.
Did you reach out to get an email from the town?
No, I didn't know we were at that point.
Yeah, so I've been working with that.
Again, I don't know if this is the right time to bring this up.
I think so, yeah. It's not an agenda item, but it's kind of rolling into.
Well, it's,
Yeah.
it will be more organized.
Yeah, so I have
I will be.
actually set up an email for me, it's just a Gmail account, it's not like a sterling.gov.
Friday
Email.
first gets mixed up.
I'm already having issues with it, because now I can't get back into it, because it's not letting me give it a password that I have, it's asking for either a PIN number or a fingerprint or something, it's like, I don't have, no one's ever put a fingerprint in, so what's it gonna compare the fingerprint to?
I'd be surprised.
So now I can't get back into it,
Because
so
of, right, because you can set up how it does these, the set the.
I set up with a password, but.
The second
now it won't
active,
give me a prompt for
right.
a password. It's just reverting to my other Gmail account, which maybe I'll just use that one, because that one already works, and I don't use it for anything else, so. But maybe I'll just use that one, I don't know, so it's a little, I'm gonna talk to Ashley about it again, because I know you probably need something, because you had yours taken off the list also, and, you know, I'm not sure where you stand as far as an email, how you want.
Well, there are other
documents sent to you.
commissions that have emails supplied by the town, so, you know, I see where it should be such a big issue.
Yeah,
You just wanna make sure if you do create your own email for the zone P&Z plan purposes, that's all you use it for.
Yeah.
It's just
correct, yeah, probably.
Again, you can, have the town create one for me, I'm not, it's in a,
I'm gonna,
making my own account, I
I'll-
store it with my regular stuff, it's stuff that I do it.
I'll spearhead this and
Sounds
get
good.
everybody set up for all members.
Sounds good.
I'll put that on my homework.
You have anything on your homework list, I said that.
I know, and I'm in my old classroom, so it's like. Deja vu. Okay. Okay, moving on to other business. Item A, subdivision regulations, section 8, public open space. Jim, you have an update?
Yeah,
I think there
so,
were a couple things, some verbiage you were working on for this.
yeah, so what I'll give you guys is, what I had done, was I put everything kind of, because I figured we were at the point now where, everything, and if you flip to the second page,
Oh, this is a comprehensive.
this is more of a comprehensive
Yeah,
of
that's good.
everything that we have
Yeah.
up to this point. If you go to the second page, it has the, starts with the proposed open space language. So I think the one thing that we did change was the 2 lots or more in 8.0.
Right, so there being one free split plus 2 lot subdivision, so potentially turning 1 lot into 3 lots is a 2 lot subdivision, and that's what we,
Right.
just for clarity for everybody.
And then the other thing that we added or removed was the generally such dedication, and we removed the shall not be less than 1 acre and that shall be of such size and location as deemed appropriate by the commission. That is on the 3rd page under 8.1 area. And then under the 8.21 method of disposition, I kind of tweaked that language to say the following disposition options may be proposed by the applicant for approval by the commission after considering the relationship of the subject areas to the objectives cited in section 8.0 in the Sterling Plan of Conservation and Development. Because that was one of the concerns, was that you wanted it to be from the applicant as opposed to the commission dictating to the applicant how it was going to be preserved.
I think that's well written, in there like that.
And then under 8.4, I just had to reword the, because that one required open space in all subdivisions, I just had to add the of 2 or more lots, or authorize a fee in lieu of open space, and remove the for all subdivisions portion of that one. And then the remainder of, and actually, I made sure I added to the bottom, one of the other sections that we were also taking out in section 10.2.4, which is that section that talked about the 50,000 square feet rectangle. The minimum buildable area of a 50,000 square foot rectangle, which was the old
Yeah,
language.
we don't need to repeat it again,
Right,
because then it's another place, should that ever change, that has to be updated, which probably won't be, and then there will be discrepancy again. Yeah, just get rid of that and just refer to it, absolutely.
so those were all the sections of the open space portion that we had changed. And I will say that as I was going through that, under the subdivision regulation changes, I did also add in a 2.7, which is under general provisions, which, as I was kind of reviewing things, it spoke to the subdivision plan shall conform to the Sterling Town ordinances and to the Sterling Plan of Development, but it did not refer to the zoning regulations. So I just felt we should add that in there, because I think that was probably prior to the zoning regulations being adopted, so.
I
Is
think
that,
that's, go ahead.
is that Sterling Plan of Conservation Development?
Yes, it should be Sterling Plan of Conservation and Development, yeah.
Yeah, I can add that in there too.
Yeah, that's a good catch. Yeah, Sterling Plan of Conservation and Development. Officially for the record. Yeah, I think that's a good catch there. Yeah, let's add that in so that is 100% clear. So this is just adding, the term under 2.7.
Right.
Where it's referring to the subdivision plan.
Yep.
So Jim's saying, it's saying refer to Sterling Town ordinances and is specifically referring to the plan of conservation and development. Shouldn't it also say zoning regulations? Just to be clear, so that somebody doesn't think that the zoning regulations are omitted from subdivision requirements. I mean, I don't know how they would, but it could be confusing, and I think that makes it 100% clear. So it's just a simple text change, it doesn't change any regulation or,
Just adds to,
I think it just helps clarity, yeah. And then the method of disposition, I think, was a big talking point, and I really like how you wrote this, Jim. This is exactly what I was thinking. Because when I read this without thinking about everything we talked about in the past, this sounds very clear to me that the applicant has an option of 7 items to do with their open space requirement. You know, they can keep it in their possession, they can do any number of things with it. And choices, to me, represents more freedom, so I think this is written perfectly, I wouldn't change a word. You gentlemen, they feel differently, so we're here to,
I agree.
This is great, I think. And And then the previous two items, section 2.0, this is, like Jim was saying, just a comprehensive list of other changes that we had previously made and had said those are good to go to a public hearing. In a text amendment package of changes. So those, yeah, so the first, so 2.01 and 3.1.1. We haven't talked about it in a while, but those are just kind of sitting in the background, ready when we schedule a public hearing, which we now have one for November. So I would suggest we get these items added to that public hearing and just get these amendments cleaned up, assuming we don't have any, well, depending on feedback from, you know, citizens, to see what people think.
So yes, in the zoning reg changes, so accessory apartment was one that we already discussed, doing a definition for accessory apartment and adding the accessory dwelling unit kind of explanation and a definition for that. The second definition that I added was as part of our discussion last month in regards to defining the Sterling Industrial Park. Was going more with the approach of not creating a separate district, but more just adding prohibited uses for the Sterling Industrial Park. So what I looked at was saying, okay, we're just gonna define what the Sterling Industrial Park is. And I looked at the covenants that are currently in place, which also has a group of definitions within them. And kind of took some pieces out of there, because they define within the covenants what the project plan was and what the agreement with the buyer, commission, different things like that. So what I tried to do was define it by saying it's the parcels to be developed within the industrial park project plan, which is defined under plan number 6, the Town of Sterling Industrial Park Project Plan, which was approved by the voters of the Town of Sterling at a special town meeting on such and such a date. And then also identify as lots 1 through 16 on Town Clerk Map 151. For those of you, this is Town Clerk Map 151. Which is the first map, I believe, that was filed as part of the subdivision, or the, not subdivision, but the industrial park project.
So if this phase 2 ever comes to fruition, we would go back and amend this section to add whatever those lot numbers would be to the definition of the industrial park.
Because I believe the industrial park originally only had 16 lots. A few of them have been merged. Or one has been, I think one has been merged, there's no longer a 12. 12 got merged into what was the tire plant. So it's now part of, I think, 14.
Oh, yeah, that would make sense, because 12.
And then I think there was also one that was, number 3 was split and then remerged at one point. It was split into a 3A and a 3B. I think there's something that should happen, at least this is only my personal opinion, because the assessor still has an IP 3B listed, which if you look at this map, they have it listed on that lot that it says now or formerly BA Wilcox or Wilcox is now listed as IP 3B.
That little tiny sliver.
Yes, but they don't know who the owner is. At least that's how it's listed on the GIS site,
As unknown.
as unknown.
That's correct.
But I think it would be better not listing it as an industrial park lot because it's not really.
And it's not.
I think it was,
anyway, so-
I think it was only listed that way because that other lot that was adjacent to it got merged together by a map in 2000, when that was split. Number 3 was split into 2, 51 and 57 at one point. Industrial Park Road, and then the owner actually filed a map that merged them back together. But IP 3B for some reason, and I don't know if it was the GIS company or who it was, because they just took the label and threw it up on that other lot up top.
Yeah.
So I just think for clarity purposes, I took it out of our definition because I know that's not gonna
Yeah, I
be
think so, yeah.
a lot that should be included
I think
in
that's
that.
why, because I mean, how wide is that lot? 30
Oh,
feet or
yeah, it's
something?
not,
It's not a buildable lot, like nobody's gonna use
Right.
it as a property, so I.
Why is there a 3 on 3?
well, the large numbers, I think, are just identifying
A map.
town of Sterling or other, right.
It's
Maybe they're
something that-
identifying the actual, yeah, they're identifying because this is actually a key map,
Right.
Yeah,
there are 4 other, or 5,
yeah, so it's telling you to take, for this whole
Yeah,
section, go to.
they're map,
number.
so they're identifying map 2, 3, 4, and 5, because technically this is map 1.
It's a little bit confusing because they're both
Because they overlap.
indicated with a circle. with-
Yeah, I don't know why they did this that way, they should have used a different symbol, but
But, yeah, but how old is this, so?
yeah, this is from
It's gotta be fairly
80,
old. Yeah. 83,
83.
83,
It's
so,
like set up for confusion.
yeah.
Mhm.
But we're still using it because, you know, that's what happens.
People know the lingo.
There is a, I think this was refiled in 2000. There's a 2001 map, which is identical to this, and I don't know if there's anything that's even different on it that was filed. In 2014, and I'm not sure why. There was a whole series of another 30 maps for the industrial park that were filed from 2001 to 2030. And I'm not sure if it had something to do with some work done on the roads or if they were resurveying some things. I'd have to check with the town clerk to see exactly. I tried to download them, but the site was so slow and finicky. I may have to talk to the town clerk just to see if she'll just give me the PDFs.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I think this works, you know, using the log numbers as a definition so that it's very clear in the future that these lots represent the industrial park. Because otherwise, you know, we know what the industrial park is, but how do you legally define it? Where does it end? So this puts I think this makes a good definition.
And then I just added a section B under the prohibited uses, the uses prohibited within the Sterling Industrial Park as defined in Article 2, Section 2.01. And so far, just listed residential and campgrounds. I think those are the only 2 that we had talked about.
Yeah.
At that point.
Can I just point out something
Sure.
odd? In our zoning regulations, we go from 1.01 to 2.01 to 301. It changes the numbering sequence. Shouldn't it be 3.01? Is that just a text change to the regulations? Do you see what I mean?
Like the point from the wrong spot.
Yeah,
The one
it
added.
is. So it goes from 1.01 to 2.01 to 2.01.
Probably be doing too many edits.
That's a good observation.
301. 301.
Where everything else is. 1.01, 1.02, 1.3, 2.01. I only noticed it in one, so they didn't put it on one, but that's
Jim,
what
when
I
you stare at it
read
for too long, it disappears. You can't see it after you stare at it for too long, which
said.
is where Jim's been.
Is there a complaint? That's a dumb thing, or- A good thing. Yeah, that's it. Because then it goes back to 4.0.
Yeah, I think that's something that you can probably,
Just
Without a,
Just
without a
throw
public
it.
hearing, it's a punctuation amendment, not a.
because I think it's only 3, because when you get back
Yeah,
to
it's only
4,
three, yeah.
it's 4.01 is back, right?
It's just the 3.
So there's only 3 numbers that it affects.
Yeah, I
And
think you
it's
can
moving
probably
decimal points.
just change it. And, but the only thing is you'd have to make sure, you'd have to do a search and make sure that anywhere else within the document,
And where
that
it
it references it correctly, that's all. And then those, the minimum lot size stuff is still the same as what we had discussed previously. I don't think there's, anything, and that was just kind of clarifying, basically just saying what the minimum lot size is in a different way. It didn't change the actual size. It was
Right.
clarifying that you have a single family size and a 2-family size.
Should a frontage be put in there also, or it's not?
That was something that we never decided, we highlighted, because we talked about the whole issue with the frontage. And we never really, if I remember correctly, because we had that highlight, I highlighted that at one point because of how it was worded.
Or what the complete description? Without it, I would say.
So I'm assuming you're referencing the fact that, well, no, the frontage would still, because we're not taking frontage out. Frontage would still be, just like it's in, we're not removing,
No, just that it's put down in text, that's,
oh, I see what you're saying. Changing the frontage to
not
a
to
dimensional,
yeah, not to change it, just to put it in along with the 2 acre, square footage lot size.
Yeah, it's probably good to clarify it.
That's a big part of it.
Okay, so if we add the frontage, how will this read? What do we want it to read? Will be a frontage for each, so single family, 2 acres. With frontage of, what was it, 250 feet? Or 200 feet? 200 feet.
Is it the same for two family? I don't know, I think I hear it. There being a difference or whatever it is.
No, because the only difference for,
It's 4.03 says 250 feet of continuous frontage along the street,
250.
is what's in 4.03.
Jeff,
so the difference when it comes to the frontage isn't necessarily have to do with whether it's residential or non-residential, it's when it was established. It's the establishment date. Right, because it's 250 continuous frontage along a street, whenever any dwelling after the effective date on a rear lot. Okay, so it's the type of lot. One deals with rear lots containing no other dwelling. The rear lot must have no more than 50 feet and no less than 25 feet of continuous frontage.
But you have,
you're already 4.03 right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
25 feet would be the minimum width is the driveway.
right,
Yeah.
Right, that's the minimum you can have for a driveway. So.
but did you have 200 or 200?
I don't know if that is, if there's any lots less than 25 feet. I don't know. Do we know when this 4.03 went into effect? Do you know? See, because nothing really gives, no, because, I know there are lots that are less than 25 feet, the driveway. But we don't have a date on when this was established.
Well, I don't know about that particular one. It doesn't say it was
Yeah.
amended, so it should have been adopted September 10th, 2009, effective September 14th. Because anything else that was amended has an amended date.
I guess we'd have to go back to 2009 or something like that to see. But I don't think there is anything.
Pretty sure when I built my house, it's 200.
I just read this whole thing, I don't see too much online.
The only 200 I see is in 4.04.
That was in,
Because there was an abutting.
that was in 2007, I don't know if it was,
Oh, these were done in 2009.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was 200, but that was before, when it was only 1 acre.
Yeah, the only frontage number I see for a lot is 250.
Right, it's 250.
Unless it's a rear lot.
Right.
So if it's that confusing just to find, do we wanna include that in another section? Or not?
you just added on to that description. With the lot size and frontage.
I think it could
But
be
it's-
its own section. I would just take out all the words and just say,
Well, what you talked
See-
about last time was the. or
was the
expanded,
issue is the
Or
expanded.
expanded, Right.
It's the word expanded that's the issue, because that means anybody who does
Dwelling
Addition.
an
expansion.
addition
Yeah, you brought this up. last-
suddenly can't do an addition because they don't have the frontage.
So you couldn't do an addition.
Well, you could, your path would be zoning board of appeals.
Or the accessory dwelling. You can side room.
Well, that's if your addition has to do with an accessory dwelling, what if it doesn't?
Right. Then you're in zoning board of appeals territory. Which is a path, so there is a path,
That's just.
It's a path, but
it just
for
has
zoning board of appeals, you have to have you
hardship.
have to have a hardship that is unique to your property that's kind of physical,
The hardship would simply be.
that your property existed prior to zoning.
I'm allowed an ADU by state statute.
But what if you're not doing an ADU?
Oh, yeah, it's not an ADU, yeah.
It's a question of whether or not there's anything in because technically you would that make you non-conforming?
That would be a big change, though.
Because it'd be a question of whether or not you
It would be a
would
less-
fall under any of the non-conforming. Because technically you're a non-conforming lot because you don't have the required frontage.
That existed prior to July 23rd, 2004, so you have a 5-year window between that and zoning regs.
I don't know that it's come up that much.
A permanent structure, that's what I think people just ignore.
Well, that may be, but,
Right.
I mean, I would like to address it and make a text amendment if there's an ongoing issue that is overly restrictive or overly confusing, and we can clarify that with a change. If it's not a significant hardship, do we want to change it?
I mean, you could go for a variance, right?
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
That's what we spoke
Yes,
about.
you can always,
You'd rather have
there's always a path.
education.
Technically, that's what 5.03. 5.03 is what addresses it,
Yeah,
No,
because 5.03, the way it's written, states, except as provided in this section, does not prevent construction or expansion of a permitted structure or the establishment of a permitted use in the relevant zoning district on a non-conforming lot that does not contain the required minimum area, minimum buildable area, or minimum lot frontage on a street, but which as of July 23rd, 2004, and continuously thereafter was owned separately from any adjoining lot, as evidenced by deeds recorded in the land records of the town of Sterling. However, no building may be constructed on a non-conforming lot that does not have frontage on an accepted street unless the lot has access to an accepted street over permanent right of way.
it's a little bit wordy, but saying if you predate zoning, you're exempt.
Yeah, it is a little bit wordy.
Yeah, the bottom line is, if you have an older property, it's allowed.
Zoning was established when?
2009.
Zoning was established 2009. I think the 2004 date is when,
The ordinance.
the ordinance.
Right, there was
Was put in
an
place.
ordinance before, do we call it an ordinance, or do we call it
It was the
a,
land.
Minimum land use.
land use ordinance?
Minimum land use ordinance.
That's what I was thinking, yes, the land use ordinance was in effect before the zoning regulations.
But look at 5.02A.
I fell into that right here, that right away, because I had to give like 8 feet to the town. And it narrowed the driveway area, also I had to expand it on 25 feet.
Does that conflict?
Yeah, 5.02 is a little bit,
5.02
it's a little bit conflicting, because it's saying you may continue a non-conforming structure, but you can't expand the non-conforming. Actually, no, actually, no. I've seen this in other towns before, written very similar, I think with the same goal. Being that if your non-conformity is that you are too close to, say, the front setback, or you're within the front setback, you can't do an addition on the front of the house that would expand that non-conformity or continue that non-conformity, but you could do an addition in the back where you don't have a rear setback issue at all. So that's what that's saying.
That's reasonable. In my opinion.
If the only item on your lot is that your frontage is non-conforming, meaning you have 150 feet instead of 250 feet.
You're not out of options, you can still have options.
Right, you're not expanding the non-conformity because the lot is the lot, you're just saying I'm gonna put an addition on the house. And if you're not within setbacks or some other issue that would cause you to go to ZBA, then it's saying you would be allowed to do that.
Not too restrictive.
So it's a little bit wordy, but I think maybe that's why it's not been an issue, because there is a path for a non-conforming lot to still have an addition or an outbuilding or something else built on the property. Using section 5.
But I think in 4.03 then, because you have this other section, I don't know if you have to say all the stuff that you're already saying. Can't you
Right.
just say that your minimum frontage is 250 feet?
Yeah,
For single family and for two family.
that's why I would just.
Right.
Doesn't change.
That's why I would just add it to our residential.
So you're saying we're back to the first statement we made before we just went through 10 minutes? Yeah. I'm good with that.
You know, it's, why complicate it?
Simplicity is almost always better.
To me, it's missing on that line, it should put that space there, it's supposed to be put in on that line. The two major variables.
Okay,
And then
What
you-
do you have an opinion? Just adding the 250 foot frontage
Yes,
to single family and then.
yeah, I have no problem with these. Well, the 250 feet,
That's already there.
what about a non-conforming lot that only has, like you say, 200 feet or 100?
Then they have to go, if that's the applicant's issue, then they go to section 5 and deal with it that
That's
way.
just to clarify our regular laws we have now, it's not changing anything,
Correct.
just
It
clarification.
doesn't change anything, exactly.
Okay. Make a note of that, 4.03, 1.03.
Okay, so Jim will just simply add the frontage to each of those two items under A residential, 4.01A residential. Just adding the frontage after the acreage size.
What if it's a rear lot?
Yeah, but I think then it refers back to
Yeah, that's, that.
the other section.
That's just clarifying that one, those lines, that's what I see.
Oh, well, okay, well,
So see, that's why I think I would just leave the 4.03 and I would just
yeah,
duplicate
yeah,
like you did with 4.01 and put in a residential, single family, two family, and put two, where you have 2 acres and 4 acres, just put 250 feet, 250 feet.
yes,
And then, then I would also add interior lots, like maybe B, because you have a different measurement for an interior or rear lot, you call them.
right. Right, because the 250 only applies to properties with road frontage, if it's a rear lot or a front lot.
Just-
If it's a rear lot, then it's a different number, and the
Well, the
250
text
doesn't
isn't there,
apply.
that's why we're not addressing it, just, but we
Right.
have now, they put it forward. Just,
Because we're determining the minimum
clarification.
lot size. Because you're defining the minimum lot size for a single family and for
and frontage.
two family. But the frontage is, doesn't it just refer? to
Well, whatever it is, we just
4.03?
wanna put it in.
Right, and just get rid of, basically, we're just gonna put it in very similar to how setbacks are put in
Description.
and, right. And kind of get rid of all the wordiness, so that when someone looks at it, they can
Okay,
just see
so-
that it's 250.
So it'll be, sorry,
But it,
it'll be 4.01 A residential, then it will read single family, 2 acres, and then it should say 250 feet frontage, front lot, 50 feet frontage, rear lot, and then the same for 2 family.
No more than 50 feet, no less than 25 feet.
Okay, yes, yeah. It'll be 2 line items underneath the 2 acres. So 2 acres and then underneath 2 acres, it would say frontage, front lot, frontage, rear lot. And then 2 family, 4 acres, frontage, front lot, frontage, rear lot. Or we could not put the frontage numbers, this would be the other option, would be refer to 4.03.
It was all clarified, so I'm fine with it.
I personally would keep it in 4.03 and just,
Say refer to it, or not even.
I would just
It's already
leave it,
there.
because it's already there, because it goes through dimensional requirements, and you have minimum lot size. When you look at the regs,
Yeah,
and then it has minimum, because then it has shape and location of minimum buildable area, it's actually,
it's a whole nother set of, yes, it's a whole nother set of numbers. They all have to apply.
right, you have these setbacks,
So if we're going to put frontage, then we should probably put all these other numbers in too, but they're in subsequent sections, so.
So it's covered then,
Well, it is covered, yes.
but it's not right out there, like on the title page right in front. The only reason I say that, because I see that, it just goes along with it. But it's covered in other areas, so fine.
I mean, if you wanted to, we could jumble them in the sense that, instead of, because you're right in the sense that your regs currently go minimum lot area, then minimum buildable area, then minimum frontage, and then setbacks. We could move minimum frontage to minimum lot area, frontage, setbacks, and then do buildable area.
I always prefer a zoning regulation that has all of this in a chart. This use,
We could-
here's the setbacks, here's the frontage, like in a chart form versus written. It's usually easier to read when it's in a chart form. That's quite a major change. I don't really want to get into that tonight.
Right.
But those are, in my opinion, easier to read, dimensional requirements when they're in a chart form versus written long.
Mhm.
But that's kind of a big deal. I have no desire to get into that right now.
So we'll go back to what started all of this,
Well, it would be just keep it as 2 acres
but
or
as
acres.
it's still was
Because
covered.
this would only be section 4.01, only referring to the lot size.
Okay,
You know, then 4.02 is the buildable area within that size.
is further
Then
description.
4.03 is then the frontage, and then 4.04 is the setbacks.
There you go. You would have said that a long time ago. We would have.
Okay, so we're going with the do nothing approach.
We're
Oh, we're out.
Well, it's
You're adding
nothing
the
as far
minimum
as,
lot size,
we're,
yes.
yes, what Jim
They're
had
gonna add-
proposed, we are not changing.
We clarified our verbiage basically for ourselves.
Yes. We went full circle.
Take an extra day, you got 8 days, not 7. All that paperwork you got.
I think Jim might need an extra day off after dealing with us.
He never tells us
Not
no.
saying no.
Oh.
He never says no, he always
Well,
works with it.
Oh, yeah.
I think when you look at it from the perspective of section 4 is basically breaking down the dimensional requirements, one section at a time. You can't read one section and say, oh, there's my requirements, as if it were like in a chart form. But it does make sense, like, it's a little bit wordy, we should probably work on that, but
I know.
well, I think because we have an ADU text amendment, we have a, industrial park zone text amendment. We have section 4, we have open spaces, we have a number of text amendments, let's not put more on the board before we get these. I think we'll end up confusing ourselves if we try to start revising every single section and then bring that giant package to one public hearing. I think it will be hard for the public to comprehend also, which will probably be scary, and then we'll probably have some pushback, so. Because these aren't changes, these are clarifications. Which should be easy to pass, so. I think we should keep this section simple for now, as Jim has proposed in the updates dated 8/15.
I know, it's supposed to be 9:15,
Okay. I thought that was
that's today, right?
yeah. Dated 9/15. And let's try and get this stuff done and official. And then we can look at new items that we want to update. Plus, I think it gives life easier. That's new items to go.
Who's doing it, thank you. Not saying.
I know something's still bugging.
Yeah, something.
This should be.
That's because I wanna change,
Yeah.
I wanna change 4.03 so bad.
You wanna get rid of the or expand, right?
Well, that too, but
Which
that
one?
doesn't bother me.
Oh,
You
yeah.
wanna change it.
I just don't think it's necessary. The word expanded.
No, it sounds like it could be restricted, but like I said, I don't know that I don't think anyone's faced an issue with it, and they do have section 5 non-conforming to get past that. Or ZBA, so there's actually 2 paths depending on what the applicant's issue would be. Okay, okay, so 2.01, we got our change, 3.01, which is going to be, 30, what's labeled as 301.1 is going to be 3.01. We're good with that section, dimensional requirements, we're good with that. If we end up revising the whole section, well, that can be something, but I think that it works for now. So I think we're in agreement that it works for now.
Absolutely.
Not me personally, us as a group. And then we've got, our subdivision open space updates, I think that's worded, I like the way it's worded. So I think we're good. We don't have any other changes. Jen, no new changes. add this to the public hearing on November. The November public hearing. Because we could include this, right?
I mean, you can include it in your November one. You could also do it in October if you wanted to.
Do we want to have a separate public hearing just for these? Or do we want to include it?
It's pros and cons.
Do you only have to post it once if we do it all in one year?
So, yeah, but
Or Ashley, who posts it?
Ashley.
Actually, that's,
Ashley will only have to post it once if we do it all at one meeting. And then the public only has to come out once. What do you think? All in one or two separate ones?
I think you should keep it in two separate ones. My opinion. This way you don't get people confused with, you know, what's happening that, you know, over there versus here. That's my opinion.
You're deciding perspective. Good choice.
But, it's not that important to me, like either way. I'm not gonna change it, if that's what he wants, it's fine. Not that important, I mean, I just asked the pros and cons, you handed it to me, and, it's really not a big deal.
Would somebody like to make a motion? You want that motion?
I make a motion, we keep it separate.
So you would want to make a motion to set an October hearing date.
Yeah, October would be good. Yeah,
Okay.
because this way,
What would that date be?
Yeah.
October 17th,
20th, I
No.
think, right?
20th?
yes,
October 20th.
October 20th. And
that would
then,
be the regular, a separate meeting,
It
a
would be-
special
it
meeting.
would- I would
Nope.
suggest at 6 PM, public hearing, which would be before the 6:30 regular meeting.
Okay,
So that would be your motion
yeah, that would be my motion, have a public hearing before the regular meeting.
on October 20th.
This way, you know,
and that's to discuss zoning regulation changes and subdivision regulation changes.
Do we want to list it as text amendments?
Yeah.
Versus zoning changes?
Yeah, the proposed text amendments.
Proposed text amendments, yes. Do we have a second for that motion?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
it's gonna be, October. Oh.
Now, Peter, I have a question for you, being that you are a member of the
Member of every-
EDC.
You're a member of every board, right?
I'm an alternate right now.
I'm
Of
not the other
this.
board. Are
But
you
you're a member
of the
of
other boards, or just-
Yeah,
Economic Development
EDC,
Commission,
EDC.
right?
now. Yeah,
When do they meet?
that's why, huh?
When do they meet next?
Excuse me?
When do they meet next?
When is the
When is the
EDC?
next EDC?
Oh, that's not till, we just had a meeting this month, so it's October.
October,
I don't know exactly. Let's see, we just had a meeting, was it last week? Yeah. Second,
are you on Tuesday? Let me
yeah,
look at
the
when
second
you're
week in October.
What night is it, Tuesdays?
Tuesdays, yes.
Yeah.
The second Tuesday.
Yeah. We just had one, I don't have my paperwork, but, what's the 15th?
I can look it up.
Well, when we had the primary was last Tuesday, that's when we had the meeting, because I was working the primary, and I couldn't go to that meeting. The 9th was the EDC, so that'd be what, the second Tuesday of the month? No, first?
Yeah, hang on.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it was it's the second
September.
Tuesday of the month.
September 9th, so second, August 12th, second Tuesday.
Okay.
Oh. Too much, Jim.
Okay, all right, so that's that.
You were asking that because,
Only because of the Sterling Industrial Park stuff, whether or not we would want to share that with them prior to the public hearing, but
because it will be. Yeah,
I don't know if they'll matter as much. I mean, they can comment then. So I guess a lot of stuff, it's just,
Yeah,
So
they,
they'll-
yeah, they'll have opportunity to comment on it.
yeah, theirs is October 14th, ours is the October 20th.
because these will be filed with the town clerk 10 days prior to the public hearing anyway.
So they'll have time to review it at their meeting. Okay. All right, next item, creation of industrial zone. We're done with that, yeah. Regulation priorities. I don't think we have any others. No, we covered everything.
Yeah.
Am I forgetting one? I don't think so.
Did you, and one of them was the buildable area, the polygon. I didn't bring the list with me.
That was the previous chairman that brought that up. I'm not bringing that up, so unless somebody else wants to, it's fine with me.
I can email you the first list that we had come up with.
I probably had it
It's
here somewhere.
here somewhere.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I'm gonna get going. Dave, how I can turn into a
Cool.
computer.
Have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Patty, thanks for coming.
This was
We're
fascinating.
learning a lot.
I know, I took a lot of notes.
Yeah, that's great. We'll see you next week.
The original list was setbacks and specifically non-conforming lots specific to village areas. And then another one of those items was creating of a village zone, so we've stopped moving forward with that.
Yeah.
We were gonna focus just on industrial zone, that being easier, we've halted that because we all know. Then setbacks for non-conforming lots. We just dealt with part of that this evening.
Wasn't part of that the primary structure, or principal structure?
Principal structure.
Yeah,
Was
yeah.
looking for a definition for that.
Okay, so there may be something to go back to there and look at. Part of my homework is to meet with John and go over what some of these items might be that are coming up to him on a regular or frequently or otherwise
More than normal.
more than normal, and see if that's something that we need to address. So I need to do that, and I think that will help clarify whether the buildable polygon, the setbacks for non-conforming lots are something that we need to review. I haven't done that homework yet, that's on me, but I'll come here, can I do Wednesday? I don't think I can do Wednesday, because that's their office hours, plus I need to meet with Ashley and we'll figure out emails for everybody. So maybe those are things that will come back, I don't know that we're gonna dig into that tonight, because I wanna know if Jim's prepared for that, I'm certainly not.
There's still something on his
I
mind.
didn't prepare any info for
Still
that.
something on his mind.
Yeah,
No, as long as everything was not holding anything up, fine. Giving you more homework than normal. It's a addressed, then sure.
Yeah, and then the last item was home-based business as an accessory use / permitting, which I said right off the start, I don't think there's anything to do there because section 301, any permissible use under the state federal law shall be permissible within the district, so I don't see how you limit home-based businesses or anything else, but somebody else sees it differently, and we open discussion about it. Do you have anything else to add?
No, not at this time. I will let you know that I think, the rumors that I've heard are that there may still be a special session in October where the housing bill may, come back, that, HB, oh, I can't remember what the number was, 5002, I think.
On the
That
state
talks,
level?
yes,
On state level.
that speaks to the, affordable, a lot of the affordable housing, conversations.
Oh, good, I was hoping I would get to deal with that.
Yeah, um,
That'll be fun.
Oh,
so in preparation for the short session that will be happening this year. But, because that is one thing that I know, Sterling never did accomplish
No,
a housing plan, but
no, so we'll have to try and put something together for that, okay, yeah, that'll be fun, should we, is that something we should get on an agenda and start talking about, or should we wait for that to?
it's almost at this point worth, to a degree, probably waiting.
Yeah.
Only to see
with
what
that.
happens,
Yeah.
what comes out of that,
Okay.
because there are some towns that are going to be required to do what they call a priority, or based on the previous legislation, a priority housing plan that has some different criteria and different requirements, so.
Will you just keep us posted on that, because that's not something that comes across my desk and my world on a regular basis, so. You see something happen
It
with
is-
that, and it affects.
It is
us.
actually also something that, John is probably very involved in,
Okay,
from the the AICP
okay,
organization, the planning organization, so,
yeah,
he may have actually
he may
even
have
more
something to
insights than,
okay,
in regards to whether a session will happen or not, but,
all right, so let me make a note to talk to him about that.
so this is coming up in the house, shortly, or?
while they're talking about, having another short, that the governor may have or pull them into a session in October or something for that. I did see something came across today about a proposal for some changes to the building code in regards to reducing the amount of, the requirement for, staircases in, residential apartments. So that you didn't have to have, the way it made it sound,
Interior covered stair, which is what the building code is now.
yes, or something along those lines. Something that it sounds like they're trying to make it easier for, housing to be, or more affordable for housing to be constructed by trying to reduce some of the requirements that are out there now for the building.
And bring back fire escapes like the fire
Square
marshal's,
footage.
van years ago.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
But
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Shall I?
Well, we we're missing one section. We have audience comments. Do we have any comments from the audience? That's a negative.
No vegetable.
Yeah. Yep, were you finished? I think we can.
I'm good.
Okay, then,
Make a motion, we adjourn.
all those in favor? Aye. Cool. We're adjourned at 8:14.
Judy, you're gonna need an extra day.
I am.
How come I don't get a day off?
No, you get to do it.
We don't
Oh,
want
you
to.
can have a day
Can
off.
you give me a day off?
You like grinded. You made me talk more than I did since I joined